Namaste. Welcome back to the RIP Reading is Phenomenal AP Lit podcast. I'm not Maggie now. Just kidding. Yes, I am. I will always be Maggie now. Unless I change my name in the future. I don't expect that to happen though. So, here we go. Chapter 8. Here we see John and Bernard talking, and it's basically a lot of it is about John telling Bernard everything he knows about his past, well, as far back as he can remember. So he just provides these vivid flashbacks of his past. One of these being the stories Linda told him about the other world, stories that would entrance him and cause him just to love the other world and want to be in the other world, and just like would develop his entire fascination with it. Also in these flashbacks, we see Linda's new lover, Pope. I think it's Pope, but it's got a little accent, so we're going to Pope. And also just some of his first experiences with him. There was one time where one of his first experiences with Pope dragged John ripping him out of Linda's grasp and locked him in a dark room. And John was calling out, like, Linda, and Linda was not replying. And so that was obviously not building a great ground for that relationship. There's also another memory where we see Linda crying because she broke something weaving, and the other women were just so angry at her, and she came back, and John was like, "What's wrong?" And she was like, "How am I supposed to know how to do this stuff? Like, I've never learned it." She didn't learn it in the other world. It wasn't a part of what they had to do. Everything was pretty much done for you. You just bought everything, which is, like we said again, capitalism. You buy everything. And she called them savages. First time that we hear the word savage. John also recalled another time Pope was giving Linda a gourd. And it was a gourd filled with this stuff called mezcal, which is alcohol. And Linda was used to soma, which erased all of her problems. And now she has to deal with mezcal, which doesn't work as well, and also makes you feel bad the next day. But I mean, it didn't really matter. And so Linda still became a heavy drinker. So also John blamed Pope for making his mother a heavy drinker. And there was just so that was just obviously not a strong relationship with Pope. And John just recalled that he just didn't like any of the men that came into Linda's room, and just because they're all just mean and to John and Linda. And there was also another time when John returned home after playing with other children, and he heard angry women's voices in his mother's bedroom, and he heard crashing, and he runs into the room, and there were 3 women whipping Linda, and John attacked them. He bit one of them, and then they started whipping him. And then after the women left, John went to comfort Linda, and she slapped him and said that she wasn't his mother and that he was a savage. And these are just a few of the flashbacks that show us how first of all, John and his mother were outcast. Linda was an outcast because she was expected to cook, clean, mend, raise a child, all things that just were not taught in the other world and not expected of people in the other world. And also we see John as an outcast because he could play with the other children, but he would never be accepted as one in the community, just like Linda, because they're from the other world. And nor he also wouldn't be accepted by his mother because she saw that he was assimilating into this culture. He was accepting it, and she was not, and she would never accept this culture the way that he was, because the younger you are, I guess the easier it is to accept things or learn about them, because she was already conditioned, like I said, which is a huge part of it. She was already conditioned to live in the other world. So we see John just completely isolated, but we do see one thing that Pope did offer to help John, and it was a complete set of Shakespeare's plays, and John really learned to escape reality through these books, through these plays, and it allowed him to express his repressed emotions. So that is just some of the breakdown. We see John and his mother being just rejected by society, and probably a lot of this rejection that John is facing from his mother is because his mother is facing rejection, and she's taking it out on him. So, yes, thanks for listening. It was a good one. Woohoo! Oh, I think this is episode 27. Okay, see you next time.